As you know, I like to talk about my garden quite a lot, and just because we're in the midst of winter doesn't mean we can't go out and take a good look at it. So that's what I'm doing this morning. It's Sunday morning and the weather is atrocious. I was supposed to be out this morning actually finishing off the final border cutback. So there's only one border to be done, but I just haven't been able to do it. Although the weather has stopped now, raining, it's likely to come in again before I get to it. So what I did this morning was I went into the greenhouse and I did some potting up of some plants that I've got in there. So we'll just take a little wander around the garden. There's not a lot really to talk about still. But I have noticed signs of spring coming. Now, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I cut these back. And you can see just how quick the growth is. And this is why I had to be very mindful about not leaving it too late. We've been having some really hot weather just lately, and 3 or 4 days ago it got up to 16 degrees in this area, so that's quite warm, and that does tend to kick things into growth, especially grasses. So the other grasses I did last week in this border, and this is the Carl Forster border, and you can see that's well on its way as well now. You can see the new growth, away it goes. Within a month or so this will look completely different. We get a chance to look at the alliums while it's at this stage as well. And that one's Allium Summer Drummer, the really tall one. And I love that allium. And I didn't actually plant as many as you can see now. These are all divisions of the bulb. The bulb splits in the soil rather, and then it produces more and more flowers each time. So we're getting quite a lot now, and it does really go well with the Calamagrostis Carl Forster. That euphorbia is looking pretty good, but I've noticed it is getting a little bit skinnier now. It's probably a 4-year-old plant. It was selected as a seedling. It wasn't the best one by a long chalk, but it was a very nice one. Now it looks like it looks like it's about to start its flowering process. It's beginning. The ends are starting to turn down, as you can see, and once they start turning down, it's a sure sign that the flowers are about to appear. On this particular one, this is a Bob Brown selection. It's already doing it. You've got to remember, some euphorbias are a lot earlier than others, and that one's looking really nice. This euphorbia I love. This into video on euphorbias, they just happen to be looking great today as I'm walking around. And that's an exceptionally good one. It's got the red stems. Now this one here is a purpureum, or purpurea, and that's looking terrible, but it's okay. I mean, I'm going to let it flower this year, and then that one's at the end of its days, really. It's about spent, but we'll allow those few flowers to flower, and then we'll pull it. We've got plenty more around the garden, and I've allowed it to self-seed around. The floating deck's looking okay. I mean, I've got plants to cut back up there, you can see. Got some of the grasses still to cut. There's a miscanthus in the black pot, and then to the right there's that cortaderi, the one called Tiny Pamper, and he's definitely staying dwarf. Very small, very diminutive, looks great. The bamboo's settling in nice now. I know it's a little bit thin and wispy at the moment, but don't forget I ripped those apart at the end of last year and put them in that cow drinker. But they are looking pretty good. This year I hope for a lot more thickness in those, and that will come. The polo looks good in this sort of light. I do like this section. I love it, in fact. And if you look at the top there, you can see that the rose is starting to scramble away. I can't see that at the moment. Let's see if we can lift you up to it. I can't actually see what I'm showing you at the minute. The light's not quite right. Oh, I can see it now. So yeah, you've got the rose pushing its way up, and I shall train that to go into the barbed wire that's through there, as you can see. And there's another one here doing it as well, so I should do the same thing to that. And that's a lovely scrambling rose called Madame Alfred Carrier, which is a really good one. You can see we've already got new leaf growth coming already. We've had some warm weather, as I said, and it's having a big impact. I mean, I would expect to see some sort of growth at this time in year, and that's doing it. There's another one, another rose. I've put some ivy up this one, up this post, because I felt it was actually wasted where it was before. And that is a really, really nice ivy. I've got the name somewhere. I'm trying to think what it's called. I've moved it from its original place, so it's kind of thrown me off. Oh no, the label's... Where are we? Oh, there we are. The label's gone. Blown to bits. Green something or other. The birch is looking okay. Showed this on the last video. It's doing all right. It's got a lot of green on it now, and I will wash that down once this horrible weather finishes, because we just seem to be getting rain after rain after rain, and it's causing a lot of the greening on that, but I'm not worried about that. Everything is away. This euphorbia, which is Excalibur, and I like to show this every year. Look at that. That looks great. I like that. And I call these the walking stick euphorbias. They get quite tall, about 4 foot maybe, and they're pretty good. Another rose. I've done some pruning on this rose. This is Rose of Gertrude Jekyll. I did a lot of pruning about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and as you can see now, it's starting to... Let's see if we can get you in focus on this one. Put my finger there, it often works. Not today, don't want to know. Not to worry. So it is away. The leaves are away on it, and it'll not be that long before that starts flowering. I bet another 1.5 months there'll be some flowers on that. So I'd already done the long border. I showed you on the last video that I'd done that. I'd cut back the long border. And the plants are already coming through. Alliums are coming through. What else we've got? Another Calamagrostis. We've got Geum coming through. We've got loads of stuff coming through. Too much to talk about. The wildlife dip pools appear to have some more leaves dropping back in, but I did say that would happen, and I would deal with that as and when it happened. And I shall, all in good time. And you can see the Boardwalker Border. I've now gone through it. We've done it. And the Owl Border. In fact, I think I did the Boardwalk one last time. I can't remember. Getting old. And then the Owl Border is looking great. Looking wonderful. Another reason to get evergreen grasses. It's looking well. And I think last time we showed you this hellebore, which is Helleborus argutifolia, you couldn't see it because of all the dead and dying stuff I had in this board, but now it's been exposed, you can see why I love it so much. I know it's plain and ordinary, but I love it. Take a walk down here. As you can see, there's no poles up yet. I came down here the other day and did a bit of clipping on this berberis. No, it's a Linicera, what am I thinking? This Linicera, and it's Linicera nitida, Bagginson's Gold. You can see it's all over the floor. Just give it a quick tidy while I had the hedge trimmer in my hand, which I was chopping some of the grasses down. And it's looking terrible because I haven't topped it up yet, and I must do it. Because now, look, you can see it. You can see the underlying membrane that I've put down. I must sort it. So we've got a Cinemon Molum. That's a Viburnum Cinemon Molum on the left there. And then to the right here, can we remember me talking about this euphorbia that I thought should be a bit of a runner, but not too bad a runner. And I had to take it back out of where I put it because it was proving to be a very much of a runner. So out it came, and it's here. And this is Whistleberry Garnet, but it is amazing in the right place. And it's doing really well. I'm so pleased I kept a bit of that. Can you believe I only kept 2 or 3 little strands of it? There it is. It looks wonderful. And if you've got a place where you can control that, I would highly recommend it. It's great. I love euphorbias, as you know. There's the Erybottria japonica, the liquat. And that's a tree where it comes from. But in the UK, really, it's more of a shrub. It's from China. So we'll get ourselves out of the nook, because that's where we are at the moment, and we'll take a walk up here, see what's going on. There's not a lot going on, really. I can only show you little bits and bobs at this time of year. There's a begonia there in the background with the pink flowers there, and that's looking okay. Another hellebore here, and this is the stinking hellebore, and that's a nice one. There you go. And that one's called Eloris Fatias. A real nice one. I like it a lot. Now you can see the builder's bags back there. That was from the cut down that I did in the borders, and they're absolutely full now. I've got 2 more builder's bags to fill up yet, and these will be getting taken to the recycling centre by myself, because I have a van, so I can stick those in there. The only border that I haven't tackled yet is this one here, which I call the gravel border. Well, it's not really the gravel border. I don't know if I've ever given this a name. I think I've given it the gravel pergola border as a name in the past, but I can't remember. And it's looking good even with the dead and dying in there. But I've got to get on top of it. I've got to get this miscanthus cut back. I've got other bits and bobs in there that I need to cut back and get sorted, because it's away. There's another euphorbia here. And this is another selected seedling, and one that proved to have massive, great big flowers on it. And this is a Caracias type, and it looks wonderful. There we go. Looking pretty good at the moment. And we're in, what are we in now? We're in middle of February, and things are away. The roses in particular are showing that they're into growth now. There's other things, there's perennials that are growing that we need to keep a check on, because it's not going to be too long now before I'm able to get in there, and if I need some splits or cuttings from them, I can take them. So I need to keep my eye on them. There's grass in there. That's Lamus arenarius, and that's a bit of a spreader. That's why it's in that tin, and it's a blue type of grass, one that you'd find at the seaside. Actually, you'd find that in sand dunes. So it's all looking pretty good, but there's not really a lot I can really show you and get you all excited. But it's nice just to walk through the garden and just observe what's going on and have a look at different things. This is another euphorbia called Miner's Merlot that's supposed to be a really good one, but you know, I'm going to hold my judgment on that one until next year. Well, the end of this year should be okay. We might get some sort of results from it, but I don't know. It's supposed to be a good one. This is just the ordinary purpureum, and it needs clipping back. You can see all the dead seed heads, or what were seed heads in there. All that dead and dying is dead seed heads, and I need to get in there. Now, these things only live for about 3 or 4 years before they're past their best and really do need removing. And that's the only downside to euphorbias, is that they do have a shelf life, and in gardening terms, a rather short one. Here's another selected seedling, and this is, we'll see how it goes this year, but I suspect another year out of that, that'll be gone. My own euphorbia Malachi, which is there, is looking exceptionally good. I was looking at it from the house a bit earlier, and I could spot it a mile away. I'm not just saying that because it's my own selected form, but it really did look good. So I look forward to that getting more mature, which this one here is. This is the parent it came from, or the cutting came from there. And that is looking great. And again, I'll repeat myself, that was found at a previous address, what was called Malachi Cottage. Hence the name Malachi, and it proved to have a lovely blue leaf on it, which I really liked. Now, a lot of it, they're not unusual for that. They do all tend to have sort of bluish leaves. Well, particularly the Caracias types have this blue leaf, but this one produced a red tinge to the top of it, to the tips, and you can only just make it out. And it does really require it to be a little bit colder for that to show out. And I believe one of its parents to be this one. And I know I mention this all the time, but I believe this is one of the parents of Malachi. This is purple and gold, but it's a really nice one. And I can see now why it's called purple and gold. It has those purple tones, and then you can see inside it looks goldy, kind of a goldy colour. That's why. I wondered whether it was something to do with the flowers, and it is. Definitely. So there we go. A little wander around on a cold, breezy and wet Sunday morning. But nevertheless, I need to get out here and get the cobwebs blowing through my mind, because I need to get out here and get on a little bit more. So one last sweep around just to show you, and I shall talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!